G'day guys and gal, this may ruffle some feathers, but not all Space Marine chapters are created equal, not even close. Some are significantly more powerful, whether that be due to better training, better equipment, more warriors, or just straight up superior gene seed. The Pentarchy of Blood, made up of some of the most ruthless Space Marine chapters to ever exist, were able to wipe out the false Primarch and the 11 chapters that joined him. They were less than half of the number they killed. But which chapter is truly the best, the most powerful? Who would you call when shit goes super south? I would argue the Black Templars. Before we get started, it isn't just a roll of the dice why some people have glowing skin going into their 30s and other people look like sun-baked roadkill. It's skincare, which I've partnered up with Geology today to help you guys get on the glowing path. If there was one thing I could recommend to people to quickly and easily improve their attractiveness, it's skincare. I'm 25 now and my skin looks better than when I was 21. I used to have oily skin with dark circles under the eyes. Now it's smooth, even, and the perfect level of moist. How Geology works is that it gets you to fill out a quick survey, then sends you a custom skincare routine based on your answers with easy to follow instructions. My morning cream has a bit of sunscreen in it because Australia doesn't have an ozone layer, while my night cream is full of those yummy acids and vitamins that freshen you up as you sleep. It's not just some cheap crap product. My gal pals are always asking me to get them free Geology because the ingredients slap. Geology is more than just skincare though. They also have nice smelling body washes, rejuvenating hair co-washes, and great smelling deodorants, all from natural ingredients. The deodorant is insane. I'll do like a 3-hour jiu-jitsu session and by the end of it, I still don't stink. So get a massive 70% off your first skincare package, as well as an additional 50% off a product of your choice. God damn, that is value. Then use my link below or the QR code on screen or code Majorkill70. Cheers to Geology for sponsoring this video. Today we'll look at the most powerful Space Marine chapters and compare them with the Black Templars, as well as looking at all the girth behind the weaponized autism Space Marine chapter that we all know and love. Let's get into it. To understand why the Black-White boys are so fierce, we need to understand their origins. The Imperial Fists were one of, if not the most straight-edged, reliable, and level-headed Space Marine legions. However, they arguably also copped the most amount of shit out of everyone. They were the backbone of Terra's defenses, and holy fuck was the Siege of Terra a terrible time for the Imperial Fists. Constant demonic incursions, hallucinations, and the like. Rogel was also locked in a Cornite pocket dimension for centuries and almost fell to chaos. Then to make matters worse, post-heresy, most of the Imperial Fist Legion died during the events of the Iron Cage, where Rogel's temper and pride made him crush his own legion in a near-suicidal attack on Perturabo. Needless to say, a lot of the Imperial Fists were no longer very chill. The least chill of all was the legendary Sigismund, the greatest Space Marine warrior to ever live. During the Crusade and Heresy, he led an elite force known as the Templars, and while he started off quite level-headed, he also gained faith in the Emperor as a god and was actually turbocharged by his faith, going from highly impressive but beatable warrior to a one-man apocalypse that genuinely terrified chaos. During the Siege of Terra alone, Sigismund's only objective was to locate and slay as many Chaos champions as possible, and holy shit did he do just that. He would just Leroy Jenkins run around and one-shot Chaos champions like it was nobody's business. On Team Traitor, Khan had the same role, run around and slay as many Loyalist champions as he could. So inevitably, the two warriors met, and my god, Sigismund slew the tits out of Khan, with Khan being so horrified by this aspect of death and cold detached fury that Siggy had become. So with that context, when the legions were broken up into chapters to prevent any one man holding as much power as Horus did, Sigismund founded the Black Templars, made up of the most ruthless, zealous, and angry Imperial Fists, while the Crimson Fists were made up of the most straightforward and non-autistic Imperial Fists, as evident by Alexis Pollux being their chapter master. The in-betweeners stayed as Imperial Fists. Sigismund would lead the Black Templars for almost 1,000 years until Abaddon returned. Siggy was the first to face him, keen to fulfill his vow of slaying him. See, during the siege, Sigismund was hunting Abaddon, with Abaddon keeping away from him at all costs. The amount of traitors that died so that Abaddon could live was insane. However, Abaddon was still in his prime and was juiced up by chaos. Siggy was 1,000 years old, which is quite old for a Space Marine. Imagine Abaddon being 30, Siggy would have been 50, so not weak or feeble, but definitely not as fast as he once was. Abaddon remarked that the passage of time had not made Sigismund weak, it merely brought him down to everyone else's level. If this was prime Sigismund, Abaddon would have lasted about 30 seconds or less. Even despite his age, Sigismund would still kind of technically win the duel, as he was able to impale Abaddon on his sword, a killing blow. But no one quite has plot armor like Abaddon, so Abby somehow managed to tank the sword and then cut Sigismund in half, which killed him, but not before Siggy managed the final roast. So you've got a chapter full of the most psychotic rage lords who hate the shit out of the enemy, founded by the greatest Space Marine warrior to ever live, who would have taught them absolutely everything he knew. That is the ultimate combo for a fierce as hell chapter. Sigismund's legacy has endured into the current setting, most notably by one huge advantage the Black Templars have over other chapters. They are literally blessed by the Emperor himself. See, the Black Templars have a unit called before the Emperor's champion. Prior to big battles, all Black Templars will meditate. One of them will then likely have a vision from the Emperor, infusing them with faith and even greater superhuman abilities. They will then visit the chaplain, who will either confirm or deny their ascendance. If confirmed, they will then be given a black sword, special new armor, and declared to be the Emperor's champion, just like Siggy was 10 millennia prior. The Emperor's champions will seek out enemy leaders or champions and then slay them in single combat. Their presence acts as a huge morale boost, with the potential that they even emit an aura that boosts nearby Black Templars to greater levels of power and heroism. Now, it's not super explicit what exactly the fuck is going on here, but it is definitely supernatural and not placebo. Anyone can randomly become a champion, even a neophyte, and they will gain swordsmanship skills that is way beyond what they currently had. They will also gain instincts, such as where to find enemy champions or where to find like a lost relic or something. It's almost like some sort of possession, with some theories stating that Sigismund's soul was so powerful and awesome that upon entering the warp, it was able to ward off predators and now looks over the Black Templars, blessing some of them with a shard of his power. There can be multiple Emperor's champions alive at the same time, but never in the same area. Generally, it's one Emperor's champion per crusading force. Now, all of this is handy dandy, but the main thing that makes the Black Templars so freakishly overpowered is the fact that they do not follow the Codex Astartes limit on how many Space Marines they can have in their chapter, due to them finding and exploiting a loophole. Guilliman said that only if a chapter was on crusade could they field more than 1,000 Space Marines. So Sigismund was like, fuck it, Eternal Crusade, meaning the Black Templars have been crusading for over 10,000 years non-stop, hence made themselves exempt to the limit. It's not clear what their total numbers are, especially after the arrival of the Primaris, but most put it at between 5 to 10,000 Marines, up to 10 times more than a standard chapter. Now, the reason why they get away with this is A, who wants to fuck with the Black Templars, not me, no siree, and B, they always split their chapters into multiple crusading fleets, so they rarely ever bring their format together. It's similar to how even though the Dark Angels are split into multiple chapters, they share a ruling council and can even reunite into near legion strength when they need to, such as when they siege the warped Caliban to try kill Vashtor. So you've got a chapter that was founded and trained by the greatest Space Marine to ever live, that has numbers greater than any other chapter, with a shitload of really powerful gear due to their status as a first founding chapter, and it is stacked with legendary heroes, such as Supreme Grand Marshal Helbrecht or Reclusiarch Grimaldus. Yeah, I can't really see what would compare. With such might, they have been present and pivotal in some of the Imperium's greatest wars, such as the Third War for Armageddon, the First Black Crusade, the War of the Beast, the Fall of Cadia, the Resurrection of Guilliman, the Octarius War, the Arks of Omen Wars, and many more, including the Howling, which was when the Black Templars literally managed to kill an alien god. I'm not joking, look it up. However, it's important to note that they aren't perfect, not even close. One of their crusading forces rejected their Primaris reinforcements and tried to kill them, which caused a super retarded mini civil war in which a custodian had to get involved and killed a bunch of Black Templars. The chapter also cannot field librarians since the events of the Howling. It's unclear if this was a consequence of killing the alien god, or if they were so put off by the psychic power of the god that they banned the use of psychers within their chapter. Either way, not having librarians is a massive disadvantage. However, Black Templars are so stubborn and zealous that they are still highly effective against enemy psychers or demons. So now we have the measure of the Black Templars, let's compare them with some of the other top tier chapters to see if they are the GOATs. First off, the Ultramarines. The Ultramarines are extremely well funded and equipped. They have the best of the best gear and were recently injected with a shitload of Primaris Marines. However, as they were extremely Codex compliant, they never numbered more than 1,000 Marines prior to G-Man's return. Sure, there is a shitload of Ultramarine successor chapters that can easily be united with their parent chapter to create a legion-sized fighting force, like what happened when the Ultramarines and the successors attacked the Night Lords and permanently shattered their legion, but if it was just one-on-one chapters, the Black Templars are a lot bigger. The Ultramarines do have librarians and very powerful ones, with Tigurius being in the top 3 most powerful in the galaxy, but I would still have to give it to the Templars. Ultramarines have been shown to not be the best in melee combat, as evident by them struggling against the World Eaters during the Shadow Crusade. So if the superior numbers of the Templars close with them, which they would, then the boys in blue would be fucked. The Space Sharks and Minotaur chapters are very powerful, but other than their individual Marines being beasts and their chapter masters being insane, the Templars beat them in all other categories, such as numbers, gear quality, and so on. Sure, the chapters that belong to the Pentarchy of Blood were able to take out twice their number, but the Black Templars aren't these scattered faithless dogs. Each Templar is a hero in their own right, and all 5 to 10,000 of them would fight in a unified, indomitable chapter. The only loyalist chapter that I see standing a chance would be the Dark Angels, especially if they were allowed to rally the Unforgiven chapters to make it a fair fight numbers-wise. Even without that though, the Dark Angels still have a lot of access to Dark Age of technology, weapons, and gear, including guns that destroy your soul, enslaved men of iron, and just some other wild shit that puts them high up in the FBI's most wanted list. However, the Dark Angels also have their shortcomings. They can be way too overzealous, which would play to the Black Templars' advantage, and if they catch a whiff of the Fallen anywhere, they all develop severe retardation and will attempt to abandon the war mid-battle. The only way we could give the advantage advantage to the Dark Angels is if we said that the Lion was with them as well as the Risen, in which case sure, the Dark Angels are the number one. But aside from that, I'm just going to say it, the Black Templars are the most powerful single Space Marine chapter. They have the quality and quantity. The only saving grace for their enemies is that they rarely ever attack with their full force. If you enjoyed this video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be, where we have a boatload of Battlemace 40 million hentai, a bunch of live action nude cosplays, and high-res Warhammer 40k fan arts. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more black content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.